one of the most cunning killers they've ever had to trace.
This was the ultimate crime against women.
This single motel receipt sat in evidence for months
8-year-old Wilma McCann.
before detectives realized it was the key to solving Chicago's most horrific murder spree.
The prostitutes being killed, they're shrunk.
What they found when they traced that receipt
At times, just seemed to be a one-off murder.
would expose a gang of 4 men who didn't just kill their victims.
Have a similar type of injuries to the legendary.
They ritualized their deaths in ways that shocked even veteran homicide investigators.
Ripper.
The police.
You cannot conceive of what it was like.
But here's what makes this case truly terrifying.
Entire police force.
The police were actually excluding evidence.
One of these killers walks free today, living quietly in Aurora, Illinois.
He was the last person in the world that you'd have suspected.
Claiming he's not a monster.
It was a case that people couldn't stop talking about.
Because what started as random disappearances in 1981
Some crucial evidence might have been lost.
It was just unbelievable.
would reveal an organized crew of ritual murderers who turned a Chicago motel into what they called their satanic chapel. And the evidence they left behind proves this wasn't just serial killing.
Hey, what's going on, okay? We have a kidnapping. There's a note left in our top of the drawer.
It was something far more disturbing.
To be back on the table, you have to go deep.
May 23rd, 1981. Linda Sutton, a 28-year-old Chicago woman, vanished without a trace. Linda wasn't just another statistic. She was a daughter, a friend, someone who called her mother every Sunday without fail. When that call didn't come, her family knew something was terribly wrong. They reported her missing immediately. They searched neighborhoods, called hospitals, posted flyers on every street corner. For 10 agonizing days, they had no answers. Then her body was discovered in a field in Villa Park. What police found wasn't just another murder victim. Linda Sutton had been surgically mutilated in a way that would become the signature of Chicago's most feared killers. Her left breast had been completely removed with precision that suggested medical knowledge. The cut was clean, deliberate, almost surgical in its execution. Detective Tom Flynn, who worked the case, later said it was unlike anything he'd seen in 20 years of homicide investigation. This wasn't the work of a disorganized killer acting in rage. This was methodical, ritualistic. But this was just the beginning. 1 year later, Lorraine Borowski was opening her real estate office on a quiet Chicago morning when she simply disappeared from the sidewalk. Lorraine was 41, a successful businesswoman who had built her career from nothing. She was cautious, street smart, not someone who would willingly get into a stranger's vehicle. Months passed. Then her body was found positioned on top of a grave in Clarendon Hills Cemetery, a deliberate placement that investigators knew was symbolic. The same surgical mutilation, the same missing left breast, the same precision that suggested this wasn't random violence. 2 weeks after that discovery, Schweimach disappeared from Hanover Park. When her body was found, the pattern was undeniable. Chicago had a serial killer. But what police didn't know yet was that they were dealing with something much worse than a lone predator. The media began calling him the Chicago Ripper, assuming they were hunting a single individual. Headlines screamed warnings about a madman stalking the city's women. But the truth was far more terrifying. Then came the breakthrough that changed everything. Angel York survived. On October 6, 1982, Angel was walking to her car after work when a van pulled up beside her. 4 men jumped out, grabbed her, and threw her into the back of the vehicle. What happened next would provide investigators with their first real glimpse into the crew's methods. Angel was handcuffed, blindfolded, and driven to an unknown location. For hours, she was tortured, slashed across her left breast with a knife, and subjected to sexual assault. But instead of killing her, they threw her from the moving van and left her for dead on a deserted road. Angel York lived, and what she told police from her hospital bed would shatter their assumptions about this case. She hadn't been attacked by one man. There were 4 of them, 4 men working together, hunting women across Chicago with military precision. They had specific roles, specific methods, and what appeared to be a shared belief system that justified their actions. This wasn't a serial killer. It was an organized crew. The attacks continued with terrifying frequency. Sandra Delaware's body was found on the banks of the Chicago River, her left breast removed, her body positioned in a way that suggested ritualistic placement. Rose Davis was discovered days later in a similar condition. Both women had been missing for weeks before their bodies were found, suggesting the crew was holding victims for extended periods before killing them. But the case that would finally expose the truth came on December 6, 1982. Beverly Washington was found unconscious by railroad tracks, stabbed multiple times, her left breast removed. Somehow, against all odds, she survived. Beverly Washington gave police the most detailed description yet, not just of her attackers, but of their vehicle and their methods. She described being held in a room with loud music playing constantly. She remembered multiple voices, different accents, and most importantly, she remembered the van they used to transport victims. A red van with specific markings that would lead investigators directly to the killers. The van belonged to Robin Gecht, a 28-year-old electrician who had once worked for serial killer John Wayne Gacy. That connection alone should have raised red flags, but Gecht had managed to stay under the radar for years while building his crew of killers. When police arrested Gecht on November 5, 1982, they discovered something that made this case unlike any other in Chicago history. He wasn't working alone. His crew consisted of Edward Spreitzer, 21, and brothers Andrew and Thomas Kokoralais, 22 and 21 respectively. All 4 men had been friends since childhood, growing up in the same Northwest Chicago neighborhood. They had attended the same schools, worked similar jobs, and appeared to be ordinary young men to their families and neighbors. But together, they had created something monstrous. They had been operating out of a motel on Chicago's North Side, where Gecht rented 3 adjoining rooms under false names. What happened in those rooms would haunt investigators for decades. The motel owner, when questioned by police, remembered the group well. They paid in cash, kept strange hours, and played loud music at all times of day and night. The music, he later realized, was intended to drown out the screams of women being tortured inside. He also remembered a term Gecht had used to describe their operation: the Satanic Chapel. Inside this makeshift torture chamber, the crew carried out ritualistic murders that went far beyond simple killing. Women were kidnapped from Chicago streets, driven to the motel, and subjected to hours of torture before being murdered and mutilated. The rooms contained makeshift altars, candles arranged in specific patterns, and what appeared to be religious symbols drawn on the walls in blood. But the most disturbing evidence came from Thomas Kokoralais himself. During his interrogation, the youngest member of the crew broke down and confessed to details that made seasoned detectives physically ill. He described seeing a box in Gecht's possession containing 15 severed breasts, preserved in some kind of solution. 15. That meant there were victims police had never even found. Thomas also revealed that the crew didn't just kill their victims. They performed ritualistic acts with the body parts afterward. The Ripper crew represents something far more terrifying than organized crime. They represent the capacity for ordinary men to become monsters when they find others who share their darkness. Their legacy lives on in the families of their victims, in the survivors who still bear physical and emotional scars, and in the knowledge that evil can organize itself and operate in plain sight for years before being discovered. The evidence I just revealed about the Chicago Ripper crew is part of a larger pattern of ritualistic serial killers who operated in major American cities during the 1980s.